up your ports and upgrading your town, so that you can then get those big shipment rank bonuses, right? Like, those are pretty significant. So just run pretty low wage cost ships, just good enough to not have too much risk, and focus on fulfilling those port requests while you save gold to level your town. Go around to each port and send them the things that they require so you can start leveling up that global kind of favored resource system, so that down the line you can start cashing in on that once you reach a desired level of upgrades on your shipping port.
Right.
And then I think the strategies are going to go in kind of two broad directions. The first one is going to be big shipments that focus on multiplying resource quantity with thaumaturgic dust and the big favored resource bonuses and an extra bonus if it's to a distant port. And you'll want to match that with sending the right resources to the right ports for the rewards that you want. This is that like mega juicer approach, right? And what will likely give you those screenshots of like really juicy pages of currency and other rewards. It'll require high level shipping people and a maxed upgrade port, and also it'll require some kind of fishing for good favored resource requests at the right ports. You won't really want to dump a ton of resources and thaumaturgic dust and gold into a shipment to a port that's not really giving you the rewards that you want. Likely you'll be focusing a lot on currency, but also it'll be really nice when you can multiply it with something like getting scarabs or fragments or something else nice back. And then the other approach is kind of the smaller, low-risk, low-wage ship spam approach. This will be good for people who can only play like a few hours here and there. This is good for the, you know, I'm a father of 12 and I can only play 2 hours a week players. But also, jokes aside, probably a good strategy for a lot of us. So this relies on the idea that perhaps there is a bit of a diminishing returns to sending large quantities of resource, just the same as there is for the dust multiplier. So the concept is that you take smaller shipments, just focusing on kind of fulfilling low risk favored resource requests. So for example, taking some corn here to Kalguur, for example. So I would probably run potentially lower wage people than this. Let's see kind of what we can get away with here. Maybe kind of using the dust multiplier to bring the risk up to an acceptable level. It looks like probably we'd want to run a little bit more crew than that, but not really going for the fishing for the really, really high level crew. Just to get that gold per hour a bit lower, because I can't play that much, right? And then just sending these sorts of ships repeatedly, right? And just getting those nice little kind of pulls of the slot lever of the where you you know, you get some random bubblegum currency and occasionally get lucky and high roll a divine. And it acts as a nice little passive income in addition, you know, while you're offline or while you're doing your other mapping. Best thing, of course, is that it's just way leaner of gold, so you can focus, again, more on town upgrades, or you can, you know, potentially play a lot less and still be able to do kind of multiple shipments even when you're not able to actively play. You're still able to take advantage of those favored resource bonuses, but you're never really going to get those exciting pages of loot, probably. Alright folks, there you have it. There's some mechanics on the Settlers of Kalguur shipping, gleaned from a large group of people having a lot of fun. Maybe a bit too much fun testing these mechanics. I've not been so engaged in a specific aspect of a League mechanic in a while. It's very fun. There's obviously still more to learn, and definitely the strategy element of things is something that we're going to have to develop just through testing and feeling it out, as well as, you know, people doing large amounts of data of like doing large shipments versus small shipments and seeing kind of what works out better overall. Of course, there's always an aspect to tailoring strategies to your own kind of personal playstyle. Like I said, those, you know, running lower gold strategies for people who can't play as much. But I hope you found this insightful. If you've come up with any other interesting conclusions or have an idea of something we could test, please let me know in the comments below or drop by the stream where we're working on this actively. That's it for now. I'm Ziggy D, and thanks for watching.
Oh my god, these guys just keep spawning. Of course, as soon as I stand still for like half a second, I'm just dead.
Good morning, Exiles. We are live from the Grinding Gear Games studios here in New Zealand. All three of us in person today for the first time ever. for a very exciting and massive Q&A after
Alright, just throw my level away.
Some real whiplash from some huge announcements there. It just kept going. Like, you guys just kind of got in a room together and set up the whiteboard and put everything on there, huh?
End of the day, really, we have this much time, we have this many people who can do what we do, and we just keep going till the end. Like, it doesn't stop here. Like, we've still got one more week, right? Like, there are still changes that can be made, so we're going to keep making them. So, but yeah, it's huge. It is absolutely massive.
Yeah, Jonathan was saying to me the other day, I don't think it's that big. And I was like, mate, that was crazy. It just kept going.
Yeah, I mean, I guess from my perspective, I kind of look at this and I'm like, okay, when I compare it to the amount of stuff that's being created for PoE 2, it seems small, but yeah, when you actually think about it, it's like, yeah, it's pretty nuts.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, making a whole new game there, but we are only talking about Path of Exile 1 today, and you gave it plenty of space to shine, and we've got returning leagues, we've got a whole new league with a lot going on, and some very experimental content as well. And with all of that, you did tease us once again with the concept and potential of a boat league, and yet you sailed away and left us stranded on the dock once more. What gives?
It's very much not intentional. I suspect, and honestly, I honestly reckon if someone actually got a boat league, they wouldn't end up actually liking it. But we can only really prove that by testing it, and so maybe one day we'll get there. But until then, you're just going to there'll be boats, but you won't be on the boats. Maybe one day. We'll see.
All right. We'll have to keep dangling that just out of reach for us. So, does this feel like to you guys, and I've seen this theory floated around a lot, of a bit of a send-off league for Path of Exile 1, in a sense that we've got the Path of Exile 2 beta kind of just around the corner now?
I guess I don't really see it that way because, we intend to keep on making PoE 1 leagues. We're going to, it really is just, the standard lead cycle, It is hard as a studio making two things at the same time, for sure. But, that's something we just have to sort of get used to. And yeah, we certainly wouldn't want people to think, oh yeah, this is like the last PoE 1 league or something like that, right? It's definitely not the case. We're going to be continuing to make PoE 1 leagues, and, that like you should expect to see things of this size in the future as well.
So, Settlers of Kalguur, it adds gold, and I think we should touch on that and the whole currency exchange thing first. So, it's obviously using gold for its features, its progression with the workers and upgrading buildings and things like that, but also experimenting with some core game features like respecs and a trading fee for the new currency exchange. Huge announcement there. So those that have been following Path of Exile 2 will be familiar with the concept of gold and why that's a thing that you might add to the game now after it's not had gold for so long. But could you explain what is the idea behind gold?
So really, I mean, gold is something that PoE 1 obviously never had. I think it's something that, in retrospect, I think that didn't help the game. The important thing with gold is that it's not used as a trading currency. Like, gold needs to be something that is only, it's bound to the individual character, and that means what it effectively is a measure of how much actual play that you've done, right, since you can't trade it between players. And that means that it's actually ends up being a perfect currency to be able to do something like gate the player-to-player trade with an automated system like that, because in order to be able to you can't just sit there flipping all day. You actually have to be able to go and play the game as well, and that sort of prevents the kind of crazy inflation that you can get with other automated, auction house type systems that you see in other action RPGs, or at least that's the theory. But the thing is that we have to test this stuff, and this is the reason why we're really keen to do it as a league mechanic to start with, to sort of see, is it going to work? Is the economy going to go weird? What's going to happen? That way we can kind of dip our toe in, see what happens. Test this, because the thing with this trade stuff is you really cannot test it, like in the office, right? Like it is simply, we don't have thousands and thousands of people that you would need to be able to actually see how that goes. So on some level, we kind of need our community to see what happens with the economy to be able to test something like that. And that's just, one of the few areas where that's like that. What we're hoping is that everything just goes fine. It's just way better. We can then immediately put it in, the core game as soon as we've done with that, ideally without too many tweaks. And then that'll be good. But we really have to see by putting it in a league first.
The thing I really like about this gold idea is that it allows you to effectively be converting this idea of friction in the user experience of like physically trading into actual gameplay.
Right,
the stuff we
sure.
like doing.
For sure. Yeah, I mean that really helps. And as I said, like this system, it'll be also really nice to be able to see how it works before we ship PoE 2 as well. Like it's really nice to to be able to do that. And we may be able to go further than this. The intention is to go further, and so this is effectively our first the first part. We'll see how it goes. I don't know if you know.
There is also one thing about this, and just because it maybe wasn't clear, is that despite being in the league, gold is just dropping as items from killing everything in the game. You kill monsters, you play the game, you're getting gold. You don't actually need to engage with the league to use the gambling, use the respecking, or use the currency exchange. So despite being in the league, and the gold is only dropping in the league due to us being more experimental with it and seeing how it goes, like if you don't like the league's mechanics, it's not like those are gated behind that as well. I just wanted to clarify that just in case anyone was thinking, I don't want to.
You can just invite Faustus into your hideout and then just use them for that, and and that can be the only thing you do if you want.
So all that currency exchange, the item gambling and stuff is all like fully accessible, even if you basically don't do any of the other stuff.
For sure.
Which means, of course, if it is successful, it can port into the core game very, very easily. You just turn gold drops on, put Faustus in. Done. I mean, there's a little bit more than that, but that's generally the summary of it. It doesn't have to come with the whole kind of city building element and all of that comes alongside it.
Yeah. So do you see it being something that's likely to stick around then, and that's kind of the intention?
That is certainly our intention. It's just that we want to be able to still have an out if things go horribly wrong, or if we feel like we need to change some stuff. So it is certainly our intention to keep it in if we can.
It's a nice little safety net at being part of the league for you then. Safety rip.
Probabilities are high, and I suspect also no one's going to let us remove it, right? So let's be realistic here.
It would have to go horrifically wrong for everyone to be like, okay, you were right, don't do this.
Yeah.
I can't imagine. So there's also this gambling thing with Faustus where you can buy these un-ID'd items, and actually look pretty powerful from what I saw. Like the items it was producing were like those really well rolled rares. What's the idea behind the gold-based gambles? Why is that a part of it?
Ultimately, it's a sink. You don't want gold to just be accumulated forever. But the awesome thing is that it's a way to target specific base types. And that's ultimately the luxury. So obviously when you're going through the campaign and you're looking for specific targeted gear upgrades, very, very useful for that. And it, as you get higher and higher level, I guess as you upgrade your tavern, I guess technically sort of, but also as you just get higher level, it upgrades the modifier tier rating, which was a term some people might not know, but it was used in Necropolis League, which effectively cuts off the bottom X tiers that can generate. So the items by endgame will be generating with a minimum tier higher than something, and thus they are pretty powerful items.
It's worth mentioning that like there's quite a lot of changes in this league around the idea of how can we make rares more viable than uniques. Like quite a lot of the balance things are actually around this idea, and that extends to things like adding more base types higher up and so on to make it so that there's like that they can compete with uniques more. The higher tier life mods, all of this sort of stuff, and the gambling and the ability to get rares this way as well is like once again another part of this. So we really want to try and make it so that and the reason why that's important is because if like Mark said in the video with the item quants problem as well, that was one of the other things that sort of meant that you had to be tied to specific uniques, like for sure. And so we just wanted to remove more of the barriers that allow people to just be able to use rares, and then that opens up for more different build types. Like if less uniques become mandatory. That's as I said, it's just another one of those things that kind of affects that.
So with that being an attractive expenditure of gold, how much do you want players to be able to trade currency freely between each other with this very fast and asynchronous currency exchange system? Like, obviously, gold is your ability to control how much of that's happening in terms of volume. How liquid do you want any currency orb drop to be? So for currency in particular, we're fine with like a very high amount of liquidity. Later on, we've talked about how in PoE 2 we're going to be doing
asynchronous trade for items as well. For that, we need to have a bit less liquidity, and the reason why is because currency can sync itself, like there is its own currency sync. So effectively, that means that we don't have to like worry too much about fast trade there. Like the relative value should establish, and everything should be okay, and it shouldn't matter too much about that being highly liquid. That said, there is still a gold price to do it because we don't want people literally just sitting there just doing only that forever. But that this is something that we don't want to. It certainly should feel like if you're just playing regularly, that you can get all the currency you want from the trade market and you don't feel restricted by the gold price. Like it's not intended to be something that a normal player would run into, assuming that they're just doing normal things with currency.
Of course, it is still meant to have high friction early game.
Because you don't want
to demean the leveling experience and the new player experience where they think the right answer is to go and just trade all of the stuff away. You want it to be that you're more finding items there and getting things organically, and only later in the game does it become.
So the gold prices late in the game are like not a roadblock at all. The gold prices early in the game are a roadblock. So that's kind of preventing that early game kind of issue.
Yeah, because you want an ALC when you're leveling your first character.
You do
to feel like an ALC.
Yeah, exactly.
Not to be like, this should be chaos.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, okay. But that honestly sounds like a relief that you're not worried about that sort of thing too much, because that kind of incentive to hoard currency and not spend it all while leveling is always a bit of a bummer.
Right.
This feels like a bit of a momentous occasion, the currency exchange. This because you've had this whole system of like the currency that syncs itself and stuff for so long, and now finally blending that with gold and this system. Huge.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's also just a mental block as well, right? Because it's like, how can you add gold to PoE? It's like, it's just one of those. It's one of those things. So
this was one of the key components that was part of like designing the league. It was.
How did I not open a portal? I'm actually retarded. Oh, man. Oh. Fuck. Alright. I have a second map of. Oh my god. Oh. Jesus. I knew it was going to be like base breakers. Yeah, I don't know if they're the only unique strapments. They're like the lowest tier strapments. Physical resistance. Was there not a mine in here? I wouldn't say one, but okay. I'll keep one for good luck. It has straight fizz. This guy's weight is ridiculous. Assigned to it. I need more balls before I can fucking do any of this shit. Winter farm. Oh. First time in my life I never didn't actually want to join this base, please. Okay. That's trash. This is one-handed.
Hey, sweetie. Are you streaming?
Yeah.
So I'm on stream right now. Huh? Hello? Hello? I'm having a hard time hearing you.
Did you want me to turn it off?
It's whatever. Whatever you want to do. Just like can't hear you very well. I think my volume's all the way up.
Can you hear me better now?
Not really.
My microphone is like right next to my face.
Yeah, it's a little better. I kind of have to like press my headset to my ear a little bit to hear you better, but it's fine. So are you keeping your stream on or not?